Hey, I am back with something that I hope doesn't take really long to get out, but I do really want to talk about it. It is something that came up during our Jesus and Therapy podcast last week, the topic of church hurt. We have renamed it to People Hurt because it is what it is. And if you want to know more about that, absolutely check out that podcast. But for today, I want to talk about the thing that has become the most prevalent among these types of hurts is when people hurt you through judgment. Literally, Christianity and judgment have become like synonymous and they are like a package deal. And I want to break up the package. I'm going to break up the group. We're not going to talk about them together the same way after this. What I want us to understand is the words, only God can judge me. It's not laid out like that in the Bible exactly. And the good book and the Bible both agree and disagree on these topics. And I want to just break it down. First and foremost, the good book and the Bible agree that God is the ultimate judge. There is no one on earth. There is not a person who has the keys to heaven and hell that can lock you out or let you in. There is not a person who can decide how your life is going to go. There's not a person here that has any ultimate say above what God says. And God says that you are redeemed. There is redemption, there is salvation, there is hope, there is faith, there is the promise of new for you. And I want you to take that away. It doesn't matter what anyone ever said about you. God says you're redeemed. God says you are saved, and you can go to God. You don't got to go to the people, okay? So God has the ultimate say. But the good book and the Bible disagree on some of the context and how we're supposed to use it. Okay, so let's walk this one out. First thing is, what is judgment? Judgment, judging, any of those things that come up, what it is to have a final decision, to make, to draw a conclusion, to pass a verdict. Like that is the final say on something. And that is not what God asked us to do. God Himself holds that. We as Christians do not get to do that. We don't get to pass any judgments or to say, this is what's going to happen to you because we don't get to do that. If you ever got a ticket, like you were driving and you got a ticket, the police officer said, I saw you doing this, but you can go to court and talk to the judge and it gets to be different because the police officer's job is to observe what's happening and let you know, hey, here's somewhere I see that you might be setting yourself up for failure. Here's some place I see where you are being less than who you said you were. And it is the police officer's job to make sure that, hey, here are the parameters for life. Here's the guidelines for what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And here's what I see you doing. See how they on different sides? Let's get them together. And so that is what the police officer's job is in that situation. And in that scenario, for us as Christians, it is our job to help people to see the danger that's approaching, to help them see where they are being less than what they are allowed to be, to help them see what's going on. And I'm saying see because it's not your job to determine that anything's going to happen to them because of that. You don't get to decide if they go to hell because of the lifestyle they're living. You don't know that. Only God knows how that's going to happen. He knows their hearts. He knows their intentions. He knows who they are. You can't decide they're going to go to hell. What you can say is, hey, I see you living this life. I see you doing this thing. I see you believing this thing that is outside of what God has said. Let me help you get to where you need to be. And in the process, help me, okay? I'm not going to focus on this little thing that you're doing while I got all this stuff over here that I need to be taken care of. You know, help me help you. We're going to be accountable to each other, okay? So I want to use a very quick example. If you are walking and there is black ice and a person sees that this black ice is there and knows it's there, but from the path that you're coming, you can't see it. If this person says you're going to fall if you keep going that way, how you know what I'm going to do? How you know what's going to happen? We don't have this knowledge. We don't have that. So I want to make sure that we as Christians are not telling people you're going to go to hell if you do that. That's not what God asked you to do. There's a different way. And what God is asking us to do is to say, hey, there's black ice in front of you. It's going to be hard to see from the direction that you're coming, but let me help you get around it because I got around it. That's what God is calling us to do. That's the difference between accountability. It's the difference between exhortation and exaltation and judgment. God is calling us to help people. He talks about in the word it says that we overcome by the blood of the lamb and the power of our testimony. Let's get the testimony out there. Hey, I know how to get around this black ice because I've seen it before. And that's what God is calling us to do. Not to tell them you're gonna fall if you're gonna go. That's the judgment. When you determine something is gonna happen to a person because of. But instead, God is asking us to just be a shining light. Hey, there's ice here. I need you to be careful. I can show you how to get around that so you don't fall in it. That is the difference. So I want to make sure that one, we are not judging. And if somebody comes to you and says, your skirt too short and you're going to go to hell, this length of my skirt doesn't determine my direction. It doesn't determine any of those things. If I wear pants, it doesn't determine heaven or hell for me. What matters is my heart, and God sees and knows that. So if somebody comes to you and approaches you and tells you that something gonna happen because of they've passed this judgment on you, go to God and say, let me see first if there's anything that you want to change about me that this person brought up. Because while the delivery might have been terrible, it might have had some truth in it. The other part is, God, I'm going to pray that you teach them how to talk to people so they're not killing people in the process. They're not out here hacking the wheels off of people. And then if somebody approaches you the right way and says, hey, I'm noticing that it seems that you're struggling in this area. Can I be a help to you and be a support to you? So as Christians, we need to be a help. We need to be a support, not out here trying to tell the whole world where they're wrong. We need to tell them how to get right. Okay? So remember, I don't have heaven or hell, and neither does anybody else. I ain't got the VIP list. I can't sneak you in. So you walk with God, you talk to God, you grow, and you get in His Word and pray. And it's going to help you to get closer and closer and closer. Remember, you are redeemed, you are saved, and that there is not a person out here that can tell you you can't have what God is giving you. Y'all be blessed.